Hello. Takes a while for people to come in, so I thought I'd play some music. Well, this way. Hello. G'day, Steve. Well, that's right. Oh, I need to write something. G'day. I thought I'd play Star Wars in the background, just for now. Okay. Well, this week, what we're going to discuss, that's a good question. Okay, I think I can shut that off. You can shut up and go away. Thank you very much. And let's turn that off. Right. Okay then. Oh, hello. Cool. I look up and everybody's bloody here. Hello, John. Nice turtle in the backyard. I'm glad you're still whittling, mate. I'm really glad. Well, now I wonder if this is going to scroll for me or whether or not I've got to do it myself. No, I've got to do it myself. G'day, Bonnie. Nice spoon. I like that. Good challenge completed. And nice set of flex cuts. I've got the same set, actually, and I love them. They're really good knives. Certainly to begin with, bloody good knives. Yes. Oh, here we go. My camera crew are at it again. Oh, well, I've got me coffee. And I've been working on my relief, which is behind me. Getting there slowly. Ooh, and scroll again. Scroll. Dale's joined, David's joined, Josh has joined. G'day, guys. Well, it's another week. God, that went quick, didn't it? Oh, my coffee's hot, just freshly made up. I'll put that to one side and I'll let it get cold like I normally do. Right, well then, we got a few things to talk about. Oh, ping. That tells me other people are joining and writing things. G'day, Tina. G'day, Aaron. Hard day at the farm. Kids are in bed early. Thought I'd enjoy a minute with my favourite group. Oh, good to hear that we're still your favourite group, John. We missed you. We miss your chatter. Geez, do we miss your chatter? Okay, well, this week, we're going to start off a stick ruiner. You're not a stick ruiner. We've seen some of your pictures. They're not that bad. I've done worse. I've got a strange stick. I have to show you this stick. Oh, dear. Dig it out. Oh, kill. Lots of noise. Knocking over lots of things. Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, well, good evening to you guys, but good morning from my daughter. Look at that.
Good evening, beginners.
Blaze says, hello, everyone. Look at that for an unusual looking stick. I used to have this for my budgie to run on, but what a good Medusa head. Look at that for snakes. That would be really quite good fun to carve, I think. It's got a bit of a split, so I'm going to have to get some resin out. I'm going to have to knock these dowels out. But I think that that's going to become a something fairly soon. So, stick ruiners. It's not long enough to be a cane, but I suppose it's long enough to be a cane topper. I'll do something with that. Yes, definitely a Medusa. I think with all the snakes going everywhere. I like doing snakes. I've done 2 so far. I want to do a. I've got. That's going to become a snake cane at some point, but I've got some doweling to do, fill up the holes. But that's big enough to be a walking cane with a really big, nice round ball to hold on to. More as an ornament than anything else. And to finish one of the challenges that I haven't done. But yes, snakes. Snakes on a pole. These are my mini versions, just to see whether or not, okay, so how does it work? How do you do them? Work them out. So going to be doing a big cane at some time in the near future. So what we got here? Morning, Blaze. She says, bless you. All right, well, okay, first up, Pete Martinez Jr. has been working diligently on a new logo. Now, the one that we have up on the cover photo is going to change just a little bit. It's the same design, just done so much better. Oh, camera crew want me to show you my relief. Yeah, so I've still got to get in touch. Thanks, Steve. Doing them in miniature really sort of showed me exactly what I need to do on a larger scale, and I'll be using my power tools. And yay, power tools, I haven't used them in a while, but the weather is getting better here, so it's getting worse for you, it's getting better for us, and I'll be able to be out on the bench outside, so you'll lose all of this and you'll have all the mess out in the backyard. I just moved mess everywhere. That's okay, we don't mind the toilet flushing in the background. Yeah, so I'm going to be doing, hello Brad. Thanks for popping in, mate. G'day, Corey. Yeah, so we'll catch you on the feed, Brad. Thank you for dropping in. Lovely comfort bird. Well done, very well done. Yeah, so I will video the making of the snake cane, so that you guys. Thank you for showing them my relief. Thank you. Yes. And notice that the glove is on the top. We had a big discussion about gloves this week. Oh, something tickled my daughter's fancy. What are you giggling at? Uh-oh, nothing. Not something obviously that's going to be shareable. Not whilst I'm live. Okay, I'll hear about that later. You did, Quint. You got dead on time. G'day, William. Okay, yeah. So we had a discussion about gloves, and I was a little disappointed actually, because there were a lot of people that advocated good techniques means you don't need a glove. Now, for a beginners group, we've got to cover the safety aspects. So we all advocate the use of safety equipment. So a glove is essential for a beginner. Okay. Now the technique side of things, I asked if anybody that didn't use a glove, I suppose, that was willing to show their techniques so that we could learn. And I was the only person that put up any kind of video to show how to do g'day Brett. Yes, a glove. We have to advocate the use of glove. Now, good techniques. I asked if anybody was willing to put their money where their mouth was and show us, and I was the only person that did. Now, I know there are a few people in the group I could have asked for them to show us good techniques. Now, using good techniques and a glove is logical. If you use a glove, then you're less likely to cut yourself. You know, you still stab yourself. But the best way. Okay. Yeah. I mean, if you use a vise, then you're not holding. Really, it comes down to if you're hand carving things. Now, something small like this. No, over here, something small like this. Generally speaking, the clamp that we use is this. Excuse me. Let's put that out because it's gone out anyway. So if I'm using something for something small, then I'm going to carve like this, and it's going to be in my hand. So glove is much better to use than no glove. I know that there were a lot of people that disagreed with me. You got bone, you don't need anything more. This is true. Now, the reason why I advocated using a glove was because I sliced down my finger to the bone. Now, fortunately, because they're carving knives, they're like surgical instruments, they're surgically sharp. It didn't, I didn't hit any nerves, so it didn't actually hurt. I super glued it up and it healed like 2 weeks later, it was completely healed. But because I cut myself, and it was for one cut, that's all I wanted. That's all I needed to do at the time was one cut. And I managed to slice down to the bone, and not a major drama. No, I didn't hit any nerves or tendons or stuff. But I then had a look at the anatomy of the hand and saw the nerve bunches and the tendons and the ligaments. And my ex-wife managed to clean a glass in the sink. Now, of course, you can't protect yourself from life. Life is what it is, and yeah, if you don't use a glove, you are going to cut yourself at some point. Even with a glove, you might stab yourself. She went round and to clean the glass, and the glass broke, and it severed the tendon in her finger. Now her finger is permanently like that, because when they reattached the ligament, of course, it was a little bit shorter. So she actually has a permanent kink to her fingers. Now, it's that simple. All you have to do is slip and hit the wrong spot. And yeah, could you do me one, please? All you've got to do is hit the wrong spot in your hand. And if you hit one of those nerve bunches or cut a tendon or a ligament, you're in a world of pain. It's you're going to have difficulty holding things from there on in. So please consider the glove. Even if you hear in beginners woodcarvers that you don't have to wear one, I'm going to stand up and I'm going to defend the right for the use of gloves. It would be no different if I was at work, and this is really where I got, I was a welder, and if I didn't use my welding gloves, then I burnt my hand something chronic, and I did. There were times when I had to clamp things and it was fiddly, and I didn't use a glove, and yeah, sure enough, I got burned. My boss always said, gotta wear gloves, gotta wear gloves. I didn't want to, but it didn't take long for me working in an industry where lots of sharp burrs and edges and stuff, that I started using the safety equipment. If I was in a spraying booth, I would have to use a mask, because you can't. I don't care whether or not the fumes and the paint get into my lungs. Of course I do. So I'm going to argue every time. Better safe than sorry. That's dead right, Brett. I'm going to argue every time that somebody says you don't need to use a glove. I'm going to say it's better to use one. Better to be safe than sorry. Definitely. So that's I didn't close down the commenting on that conversation. I allowed everybody the freedom of speech. Did have an argument. I did have a disagreement with one person that told me, "Thank you very much." He didn't say thank you very much. That wasn't what he said. I did have somebody tell me that the group itself, well, it's not mine. I put so much time and effort into this group that I can't think of it as anything other than the group that I attend. So it is my group. I'm responsible. If anything goes wrong, if copyright infringement happens, then it's on me.
The update for that.
Yes, Blaze has actually joined us as moderators in the group. She'll be tech help. So at some point I'll interview her, because we can fit us both in on screen. Yay! So, she's going to say hello in a second. Ooh, I'm lucky. Yeah, so if you have any issues with the tech that we use, g'day David. If you have any issues with tech, if you want any tech advice, what sort of things are you going to be offering?
Copyright, intellectual property advice.
Speak up.
Like I said, give me a second.
She's going to tell you in a minute.
Grab my tea. I feel like.
Yes, okay. You grab your tea and I'll have a slurp of my coffee before it goes cold. Yes, so even when it comes to fussing the dog, see, I've got a glove for it.
Silly.
Oh, I know. And look, here's the Blaze. Dun, 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 dun. Good crew. Look at the camera crew. They even pan in on you. No, not him. Get away. Thank you.
That is bizarre.
I know it does it all on its own. It's wonderful.
That's weird. Hello.
Hello. See? So now we've got tech help, and I've gone to. Thank you, the camera crew. They're really good, aren't they? The way that they go. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh look, they cut me out and put the beautiful one in. That's really. Oh, back over to me, you bastard. Come on. Oh, did I just swear?
Yes.
I did.
So guys, when I was talking to Dad about becoming a moderator, the main things that I feel like I can contribute to the group is stuff surrounding trademarks and copyright and intellectual property and sort of, hey everyone, I've just seen your comments. Hello. And basically constraints that sit around running things in a business kind of fashion. My background is studying business, so I don't have much to contribute as far as wood carving is concerned, but if you wanted to write up an infographic on how to do carving or an infographic. Do you guys know what an infographic is?
No, they don't. They don't. I'm going to have to scroll. They
You
don't.
reckon?
Most of them wouldn't
I don't know.
Come on.
I don't know.
It'll explain for me, Pete, 'cause I don't know what an
Okay.
infographic
I'm explaining for Cole. It seems weird, Dad.
is. This dickhead, yeah.
Infographics are a type of poster that usually presents statistics or outline factual information. We are going to put together some infographics to explain stuff for beginners woodcarvers.
Things like copyright.
Yeah, copyright, intellectual property, that sort of stuff. You were talking about wearing gloves. That comes under the category of PPE, personal protective equipment.
Absolutely, a duty of care to look after yourself is
Absolutely.
to wear a glove.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah, so
Would you like to wear my glove?
I'll wave your glove.
It's got a lot of glove in it.
It's a whole lot of glove.
Got a hole in my glove. Got a hole in my glove. Psycho chicken, qu'est-ce que c'est? Where's the camera crew? What the bloody hell they do?
Zoom out! You're too close.
Come on.
Zoom out. Zoom all the way out.
Come
What
on.
is this?
Come on. All of it. The whole way.
Oh no, I have dropped the glove on the floor.
She threw my glove across the room.
Yes.
Yeah. So yes, if you have any questions about your tech stuff, about copyright, copyright is something that we've sort of dodged. It's an area that is. Oh, thank you. This camera crew are really good. I don't like the boom mic keep smacking me in the mouth though. That's not so good. Oh look, looks like you're supposed to be talking according to them. They just prefer to have pretty people on. That's all it is. That's why it's gone away from me. We're losing it. We never had it in the first place, did we?
Yeah.
No,
I don't think that we really had much to begin with, to be honest.
No, I don't think so.
There.
Although we do well considering we lost it.
Well, to get back on track, part of what we're going to be doing as part of the update that we're kind of passively working on at the moment.
I wouldn't say passively, like bloody hell. Reams and reams and reams of writing.
There's a lot of paperwork.
This one tends to go the whole 12 yards. 9 yards is too short. She goes 12 yards. So when we actually get the updates of rules, guidelines and such like, they are just going to be like
very comprehensive.
Comprehensive, yeah. So
thank you, Brett. One of the things that we were talking about doing, because we've seen a couple of things in the group that we can recognize that some people would really benefit from, but majority of the group maybe doesn't want to see it. So we're looking to introduce threads for specific kinds of artwork.
Naked.
So as the best example is human anatomy. Now, some people don't want to see that, and we totally understand that. So we were talking about the idea of running a thread maybe once a fortnight, once a month, once every 3 months, depending on the subject, and posting encouragement for those particular pieces so that it's not on the rest of the feed.
But the very first picture will have graphic content warning you that there is nakedness or controversial.
There's a feature in Facebook that enables you to just put up like it's a cover over the image so that you don't actually see it if you don't want to see it.
Yeah. And then all of the photos of the nakedness in this instance will be in the thread itself, so that way we can discuss, and the people that do like naked form, I will exercise the right to mute people
Oh,
if
yeah, yeah.
we get crassness.
We don't want people to get too silly, but we do recognise there's a lot of benefits to carving human anatomy. And we noticed a post, what was it, about a week ago, where a gentleman was asking if it was okay to post.
Yeah.
And that sort of brought up the discussion between the two of us that we need a safe place for those type of images or those type of videos, because we don't want them on the main feed.
In other words, it's a bit like the new BWC roast. If you want to have your carvings assessed, or you want constructive criticism as to how to better your carvings, we're lucky because we've got Bob Brown in Western Australia who knows a lot about this stuff, so he's happy to assist us and give constructive criticism back.
On my face.
To give constructive criticism. So we've done the BWC roast. This is one type of thread that we're going to be following through. Cousin it.
Yes, follow our cousin it.
And Stumpy in the background keeps panning in on him. Obviously, it recognises the face.
Yeah, it must be.
So yeah, we're going to have some different threads or different posts that allow for nakedness. Nothing porn. Nothing. No. No erect penises, please.
Yeah, nothing too graphic
no,
here.
Nothing vulgar.
We just want to really give a chance for people to express themselves, and if they want to try something that's a little bit more risque and you're not so confident to put it on the feed, that there is actually a place where people will be constructive when responding, and they'll help you as far as from an anatomy point of view. So yeah, we're going to try and discourage too much humour around it. It's going to be more about the learning of carving.
Yeah. It's actually more about anatomy than it is about a pair of boobies.
Yeah.
Seems to be a set of wooden boobies set off a whole bunch of people where, look, humour has its place, but when you're in a global group, humour is usually at somebody's expense. And in this case, it becomes sexist in a lot of ways. I mean, it's funny because if you put a man's on the carving, then no one bats an eyelid. But if you've got a couple of wooden boobies, like, it just brings out the idiots, unfortunately. And that's why we can't have nudity just on the feed, and it's why we've censored. We've had to, because we don't always get the best responses when such things go up, but there is a place within art that is of a sensual nature.
A sensual nature.
So no Woody Woodpecker jokes, Brett said.
No Woody Woodpecker. Exactly.
Right.
Did we want to talk about some of the other stuff that we're doing as well?
You've got the floor.
Okay, so my dad, Cole. I don't know, what should I refer to you as? Cole?
Boss?
No.
Captain?
Not captain.
Arr.
No, not captain.
Not captain?
No.
Not daddles?
No, not daddles. Me and Dad were talking about, he asked me if it was possible for us to review the roos.
The roos?
The roos, yeah, the kangaroos, they're everywhere.
Yeah, they are. They were yesterday and the day before for her. She had one playing mini golf with her, and this is legit. She had a kangaroo that leant on its tail, stuck its legs up in the air to go over a fence or something.
It was over the edge of the mini golf. But anyway, part of the rules that we're looking at is streamlining what happens to a person if they breach the rules that we're in the process of writing. And what we were thinking about introducing was sort of a 3 strikes you're out rule if it's a minor offence, and clearly outlining what would result in an instant dismissal. Yeah. Because we do get a lot of people joining the group who are purely here just to, there's like a lot of people in this group, I want to try and sell something, or I'm here just to get lots of glory, or...
Actually, there was one area that Blaze and I have, there's a Roo Challenge brewing. Yeah, possibly.
That would be fantastic. I'd try. I wouldn't do a very good job, but I'd give it a go.
Yeah, so we're going to have rules written up. So because there's been a few people, Chuck Marr was one of them, that requested, where are the rules? when we were a smaller group, rules were kind of the golden rule: treat people as you wish to be treated. But unfortunately,
as the group gets bigger, the need for more streamlined rules becomes more obvious to the moderators and the admin of the group.
so
Keeping it streamlined so that people understand what's going to get them in trouble and why would it get them in trouble.
Yeah.
And also, we're going to set up some constraints around, or not constraints, some protocols for the moderators in the event that it's something that's in question. So the person who has put up a post that's in question would be contacted and things like that, just to make sure that, you know, things are dealt with fairly, but also from a point of view that the members of the group understand. Oh, it's Zen.
it's Zen.
It's Zen.
It's Zen.
It's Zen.
Hello, Zen.
That's if she's clicked in yet.
Well, she joined. Yeah, so we will be covering the rules. There's going to be a short form which you'll find probably in our description. But then from there will be a file which will be a comprehensive rules.
Keeping in mind that because this is a global group, writing the rules to match the laws of any individual country is a bit tricky.
Yeah.
There are some general ones like intellectual property and copyright laws. There are some lines of text that are regulatory across all countries.
Pretty much.
But with that being said, it does vary country to country. So we've got a really big task ahead of us to make sure that we can educate you guys as to what to do to not breach copyright problems.
What we'll try to cover is we'll be, because we've got g'day Robert, because we've got hello Zen, because we've got because we're in Australia. Okay, so what we'll do is formally we'll do Australian legals.
Yeah.
From there, because the States has got the highest amount of people in, but from state to state things vary. So we will probably list in where the American rules, legals come from, and probably the UK. From there on in, you'll have to research your own.
Part of what I will be aiming to try and do is set things up so that there is at least a basic index that if you're from a country that we haven't covered, that you at least can access a link to take you to where you can find out more.
210 countries on the planet.
Yeah, no, I know.
So we can't cover 210.
No, I'm aware of that.
But we can cover the big ones.
Hey, there's a lot that we can do, and there's general rules of thumb that if you follow in most countries, you're going to steer clear of breaching any copyright laws. So we'll make that clear so that the participants in this group know that when they use a design, whether they're going to get in trouble or not. If they create a carve that is sort of questionably copyright, if you take a photo of it, you've got the copyright to that photo, but not necessarily the carve itself. And we're going to go through and try and explain the different layers of copyright and how to protect yourself from getting into trouble by breaching copyright. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Look.
How about just common sense?
Yeah,
Yes,
no,
exactly.
no.
Exactly.
But common sense changes from country to country. It's not as easy as like that. That we were running on common sense beforehand, and the requirements of a group growing this big.
The other thing that is worth mentioning here is that you can use common sense. You can be, you know, using a design that you drew on a piece of paper and then carving it, but somewhere in the world it may breach copyright, even though you've done the design yourself. So it's how to find out if you are using a design that might trigger a potential copyright breach. There are ways to find out. So we're going to try, I don't know how comprehensive it will be, but we're going to try and do what we can so that it's pretty straightforward
pretty
for
well
people to
covered as
understand.
much as we can. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, yes. We know that there's no, we don't need a new camera crew. This camera crew is really good. It picks up on the pretty one rather than me, so that's much better.
Yeah, facial recognition of the webcam software. Every time I lean out, it zooms out. I lean back in and it zooms back in. I need to wear sunglasses or something.
Well, I just think it's funny because it's completely ignoring me for a change. It obviously likes, it wants to show the relief carving. Hey, we're having way too much fun here. You realise that?
Nah. It's good to be on board, guys.
Yeah. Now, we're going. we're going to be saying, oh, it's really hard to read so many, so many comments. But in frame, who's in charge of the camera? Nobody. Sack the cameraman. Yes, we should. Can the camera?
The dog.
The
dog would do a better job than what it's currently doing.
Yeah, but then it would lick itself, and then we would see far too much, and we'd have to put a graphic content sign over it.
The dog.
Okay, Zen, common sense, unfortunately varies from person to person. It's not law. People will argue they're right because of their perspective. It's of what is common sense. Yeah. Yes, look, I generally tend to work off my own designs. I don't, it's only if I'm doing a challenge and the challenge is a universal challenge. Otherwise, like, I mean, everything around me is not copied. Everything is just mine. I don't generally tend to copy people's work. I design it up myself, but not everybody has that. They're not that lucky. Okay, we've got a new logo. Pete Jr., as I said before, he has designed us a fantastic new logo to go on the t-shirts and such like. Oh, it's really bouncy, isn't it? There's two people, facial recognition.
You've got a hat and glasses on, so it's not getting you
as much as you. No. Okay, well, you lean out a picture because.
Yeah, I will.
Hey, I'm
half here, guys.
Well, I'm the pretty one. You're just tech help. Okay, tomorrow we lose.
Nice work with the camera, China. I am using a rough out, try to tell everyone the originator. Yeah, yes. Absolutely. This is part of what we're bringing in as part of the copyright and intellectual property rules. Because this is a group of learning, there is a lot of situations where people have followed a step-by-step from a book, or they've watched a YouTube video to get ideas. Part of what we want to do is make sure that it's really easy for anyone else to access those learning tools, and we want to recognize the originator. So you're absolutely right.
So if you take it from a book, you can put it up because it's your work, but if it's still credited to the person that designed the step-by-step in the first place, so you do have to name.
You just write something to the extent of this design was inspired by, you know, it did zoom on the story. Yes, it did.
Yeah, it hasn't got glasses on, that's why. Yeah, so like we're looking at the copyright rules and stuff, and they're bloody huge. They really are. It's a pain in the bum, to be quite honest.
Fun.
Well, it's fun for some, that a business course. Now, the other thing that we discussed between the two of us was the potentiality for a BWC sales group. Which this one here will more than likely.
I want to steer away from the language of a sales group.
Okay, then.
The idea is to set up a secondary platform that's attached to BWC that enables people to, if they have tools in their local area that they want to sell with, you know, people in the local area, or if they want to publish their Etsy page, if they've got a business page on Facebook. And you know,
me, you're the one talking.
Yeah, I know, but I don't want it that close to my face.
No, heave ho.
No. So yeah, we're looking at making a secondary group. What's it doing? There's no face there. Hello. It must show you carving, doesn't
it? Yeah. Here in the States, all you have to do is put a copyright sign on it, and it's yours.
Have a good day, Zen.
Oh, see you, Zen.
Here in the States, all you have to do is put a copyright sign on it, it's yours. In most situations, TJ, that is absolutely correct, but there are situations that just by the nature of how many people are on the planet pumping out designs, that even when you do that, you can breach copyright. So it's not a one-size-fits-all rule. It requires you to research it to make sure.
Yeah.
But for the most part, you are right. If you stick a copyright sign on it, it is yours, but it's not an officially recognized copyright. It's the most personal level copyright. To get proper trademark or proper copyright actually acknowledged, you do need to contact the local authority and register with a patent, or it does get quite complicated. The same as if you put trademark on it, if it's not officially registered, The trademark is yours, but it's not recognized, if that makes sense. So
it's not legal because you haven't paid somebody to make it legal.
Yeah, basically. And as far as intellectual property is concerned, there is a general clause of intellectual property and copyright that gives the originator of the idea the acknowledgement that if there was ever a legal case around it, if you have proof that you were the first person to come up with that idea, then there is a general intellectual property and copyright that is given to you when you come up with an idea. But guys, if we're talking in the area of business or in the area of commercializing, like if you've got a carve that you want to set up as selling it to, you know, international buyers and stuff like that, there are some steps that are worth making to make sure that you're in the green, you're not going to get into trouble. So we need to look a little bit more into that and do a little bit more research so that it's easier for you guys to know when it's easy and safe or whether you've got to do a lot of research.
So in other words, as a moderator, if you have any issues or any problems or you want anything cleanly defined, then this is the one to ask. She's here to help with this sort of stuff.
The other thing that I want to do with the assistance of Dad is to run through and ask the members of the group to start putting forward their designs, like the dolphin. Jerry Joe's dolphin was given to beginners wood carvers to benefit all beginner wood carvers, and we want to start creating a pool that designs come into, so that people who are a bit iffy about breaching copyright have got a safe place that they can access designs that's from members within the group, so it's not copied off of Google, it's not taken off of someone's website. We know who the copyright belongs to. So we're going to look at maybe making a couple of threads to generate some designs, or maybe a couple of ideas threads to just start to put together a plan of what designs you guys want beginners wood carvers to have as free resources. So we're going to be looking into that as well.
Oh, back to me now. Oh, we've scrolled. Thank you. If someone copies your work, you can sue. If you can prove it's yours is first, and it just depends on whether or not there's a term for it where two people come up with the same idea and they can be in two different countries at the same time. And basically, it's the first person that pays that makes it theirs. To be able to serve.
With that being said, Josh, you are absolutely right. Whenever I have discussions with people who want to try and maintain that they have the copyright, it's to send it to yourself with registered mail. It's a really easy way. You can do that with ideas, you can do that with concepts, you can do that with designs, or with photos as evidence that it's proof that it's yours. Let's have a look. Most of the time you have to get permission from the person who originally carved it. Yes, you're right. In a situation where a copyright is really clear-cut, belongs to someone else, and it's not something that could be considered as belonging to the public domain, i.e. something that has been around for hundreds of years and could be easily... it could be easily stumbled across by a carver. So like the ball in the cage, for an example, there might be variations of that design that belong to people specifically, but the general design belongs in the public domain.
That's been a rattle for children way before plastics were invented. They've been going, they go back.
Now, I know a little bit about Australian law. I'm not so sure about the other countries, but general rule of thumb is that intellectual property and copyright for the originator lasts for 70 years beyond the person's demise. So if it was a design that was created in the last 100 or so years and the person is still living out their life beyond the registering of that design, oh, would you stop zooming in? I don't want to be that close. And you've moved it so that I can't get out of frame.
So it's going looking for me now. No, not me.
Okay, most of the time you need to get permission. Yeah, most good worker will let you.
This is true.
Yeah, well, we want to.
As long as you're not making a lot of money. If you're making more money than they are out of it, then there's issues. If the person that designs it allows other people to use it, and then that person goes on to make millions off of it, then of course there's issues. That's why copyright exists.
Wow. Yeah. I don't want it to focus on me this much. Focus on Dad too.
Notice how he's laughing.
No.
The wooden thing is laughing in the background.
Oh yeah, hilarious.
We're sorry about the way that the camera's working. That's obviously with two of us, it's in here. But anyway, okay, where we go. Scroll. You're going to have to fix that camera before she falls off the chair and hurts herself.
Yeah, we've got to think work health and safety here, guys.
Good night to John Thomas in Wales. Seen some of your dragons and stuff. Good stuff. G'day, Fred. He's just joined us. So yeah, that's it. But because we're in a beginners group and because we can't share outside of the group, pretty much what you do is relatively safe in beginners wood carvers. Yes, people can copy and paste and put them outside, but that doesn't happen very often. John Overby has had it happen a couple of times, John Overby's had a couple put up on Pinterest where people have liked it, and that caused a bit of an issue.
This is part of where some of the written information that we're going to put up will give people a bit more guidance on what they write in their photo in terms of how other members might be able to use their idea, their design, if they want to keep it purely just their design and look, don't copy this one. This one's one that maybe I'm thinking of, selling or something like that, so that the way other people in the group know, hey, this is a design that's to benefit everyone and give it a go yourself, or if this is a design that purely relates to a particular style of work and that person is just sharing it with the group to get maybe some constructive criticism or maybe some advice on their technique or, stuff like that. So we're going to look at, I think we discussed that, didn't we? We're going to look at, just a few key terms that people can put in their photos if they want to protect their copyright or if they're willing to share it with the group so that it benefits everyone, basically.
Well, generally, my attitude is if you put it up in the group, then of course it's something that we can share because it's in the group.
Copy lice.
we do tend to be inspired by work. So I have sort of dodged the copyright issue for so long because we're a beginners group. We've got to learn from somewhere, which means copying stuff. And yeah, TJ mentioned that you can tell certain people's styles. Absolutely, if you're doing some of the carving greats stuff. Lynn Doherty's is always identifiable, but there are Jean Messer's styles, techniques of ways of carving. They tend to have a style, but we're pretty much in the group that if you put it up there and it inspires somebody, it's good if somebody works with it. It's just the way it is. I do not share anything from the group unless it's shared into the group from an outside source. Yes, exactly. Part of the reason of being a closed group is that only us guys see our posts. Anybody that's not in the group doesn't actually see our posts.
To a degree, it protects the people within the group. It means that the learning environment is conducive and it's a limited audience, so that if there are any problems, management can give you guys the heads up and go, hey, are you aware this image is near identical or has been taken off of Google, you're breaching copyright, or those sort of things. As you would have seen if you have Googled wood carving designs on Google, a lot of the time it has a fine print that comes up underneath the image that says this image may be subject to copyright. We're going to try and do our best so that you know when you can use it and when you can't use it.
There'll be clear cut.
To the best of our ability.
If somebody puts a design up and they don't say this is for other people to share, then one of us guys are going to ask, and then that way it's clear cut that.
The other thing is general rule of thumb: when in doubt, throw it out. If you don't know where the copyright for a design came from, we suggest you to sit down with a pen and pencil, paper and pen. A
writing implement and paper.
A writing implement and a bit of paper, and to look at the image, yes, but if you copy it exactly, that's a problem. So we're going to try and run through, basic sort of design stuff as well, empowering our carvers to yeah, have a go making their own designs if they've never done that before, rather than going for Google Images, because yeah, the copyright, you may infringe using images off of Google. So
now, I generally I generally tend to have an attitude, and have had for a long time, that having external pictures posted in the group is something that it's not a no.
we shy away from
but
it,
we do
though.
shy away from it. I mean, it's very rare. It's only if it's an outstanding piece that's done by somebody that is inspirational, that
or that we have permission from. That's the other thing. I mean,
Yeah.
really, ideally, we would only want to share external images that we do have permission to share with the group.
we've got enough
because-
people in here generating enough
Yeah.
stuff that we don't need stuff from outside. We've got some really good carvers. Oh, look, there's that. I'm back on screen. I've done less time on screen this time than ever. Yay! Yeah, we generally tend to try to just post what we do, rather than an original is worth more than a copy. Always. We're just trying to cover all the bases, really. It didn't matter so much when we were only 1,000 people, although it did matter. Legally it did matter, but it's the legalities of things. I mean, running a group, you wouldn't think that suddenly all of these legals apply, but they do. And I'm held accountable, so that's part of the reason why they've got to be rules, they've got to be copyright
Well, I mean,
information.
the long-term direction of this group, from what we've discussed, I get the impression, the idea is in the long term we would like to have some free resources that are available via website. So we do have sort of a what would you call it, a long-term plan.
Yeah. I've already purchased the domain name so that we can actually have Beginners Woodcarvers website.
Yeah, and that environment will be full of free resources. I get used to being on the camera. TJ, thank you. You're probably right. I just was mimicking what she. I get the way times as well. Hope you have a great weekend. Stop zooming on me. Sorry, we're just reading the comments as we're chatting.
And having to scroll.
To sit closer. What? But maybe. Oh God, you're asking me to sit closer to him. It's still going to zoom on my face.
Because she's the
Sadly.
prettier one. She's the pretty one, that's why. My camera knows. Oh, look, there's a new person. Let's get them on camera more than Daddles. Did you hear I put Star Wars on to begin with?
No.
Da, da,
I
da,
wasn't paying
da.
attention. Yeah, I don't know. We're also, as
Hello.
Tech Help, we're also going to look at the camera zooming thing and see if we can do a thing about that, because it is ridiculous.
Oh, it's okay when there's just me, because it just tends to pan occasionally. But because there's two of us, yeah, it's all over the place, and I can't adjust it while we're
Hey,
actually
look,
live.
at the end of the day, Robert, it's got to do with making sure that other people's work is safe and making sure that your own work is safe.
Mm.
You might not be able to tell that it's copied, but anytime that a person directly does copy someone else's design without permission, that's a no-no, and we're going to discourage that
Okay.
within the group.
Here's an example, step-by-step of face carving done by John Overby. He's done that. We've got a slideshow, we've got a video, we've got a whole lot. To do that, fine. But just to acknowledge John Overby that it's from his design, that's how that works. So we've actually got like John's stuff to begin with. G'day, Fred Hero. He's done all of the challenges.
It's Fred. Hello, Fred.
He's leaving wood spirits along his dog walk.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, how wonderful.
For people to find.
That's awesome.
We've got a few. Stephen Hatch does the same. There's a few that do that sit, they find a twig, they carve it up, they leave it there for somebody to find.
I would be so
Wonderful.
excited if I was a kid walking along and found something like that.
Or even as an adult.
We're getting seasick out
Yeah, and,
here.
"Arr, what do you think? We should make you walk the plank. Arr."
Sorry, guys. I'm going to sit slightly out of key. I'm still here, but it's not going to zoom in on my face.
I'll turn that off.
Yeah,
I'll turn that
that's
off,
just silly. Silly camera being silly.
Right, okay. There's a couple of other things. We're losing Steve Fowler as a moderator. Shame his last day is tomorrow. I probably will be looking for applicants for moderators. I could do with a few extras. Usually when I ask outright, I end up with so many applications now. Doing the moderators, I mean, okay, Tammy, 10 how-to videos with the new spiral ornament that she's going to be putting up. As a moderator, she's produced 10 videos for the group. Brilliant. Well done, Tammy. Brilliant, brilliant. It's what we want. Brett's just put up his how to carve the ball, a mini ball, which brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. We're going to be looking at doing more tutorials, more how-tos, more look at how this is built and look at how this is made. As time goes on, we're going to get more on that. So what we're looking for moderator wise is people that are willing to do files, people that have the tech to be able to do it, because if you've got a phone, then it's difficult to write up a file, whereas if you've got a PC, not a problem. If you've got a tablet, well,
I always take the initiative. Where there's a will, there is a way. If you're limited to only mobile Facebook rather than computer Facebook, there are ways around these things, but they do require a bit of patience on the person who's trying to achieve that.
So basically, from the moderator side of things, we're going to be looking for 2 or 3 applicants that are willing to take on. Okay, first of all, spend a lot of time on Facebook. Workers, it's difficult because work you can't answer. If somebody asks a question, it's very difficult to answer if it's like 12 hours later. This is something that we have noticed. So applicants that are kind of on Facebook a lot would be good. With a little bit of tech savvy, people able to Google questions.
And things like willing to learn how to do screenshots or screen captures, so that way if there are any issues on the feed, we have the ability to. Is it frowned upon for
members to do tutorials?
Goodness, no. We want our members to do tutorials if they have the capacity to do so. Fred, sorry, have to leave. Nice to see you. But Fred, have a lovely evening or day or whatever time it is. Evening? Have a lovely evening, Fred. It was good to see you.
It's 9 minutes to 10 there.
9 minutes to 10.
In New York.
See, this one's a lot better with the time frames than I am. I know it's international, so I have to say goodbye in like 6 different ways. Yeah, good morning, good night, good afternoon. I hope you sleep well. Have a nice day. Yeah.
I remember you, TJ, and yes, tutorials are acceptable from members. Anybody that puts up videos of how to do things, a bonus. G'day, Tony, you made it. So no problems with members putting up tutorials. That's kind of what the group is about. The more members that put up tutorials, the better, I say.
And ultimately, if you want to get started but you don't know where to start, all you need to do is send one of the moderators or the admin a message and just go, hey, look, I'd like to make a video, but I don't really know what to do. And we've got a whole team here that would be willing to help to the best of their ability, help run you through what needs doing to achieve that. We've even got the ability to do video editing if you don't have the capacity, the software to be able to do so. So keep that in mind.
Ah, David, you made it. Yay! He's setting up his workshop. We're going to be getting videos from David Hunter fairly soon. His workshops, he's moved. And his workshop has to be reset up, and we'll be looking forward to your videos when you get there, David. Yay! What time is it here? It's 11:23 a.m. on Saturday morning. Okay, yes. So moderators, we're going to lose Steve Fowler. We've lost Eddie McGann recently because work commitments have been a little bit excessive for the poor buggers. And look, I ask a lot. I've already said that, Tony. It's like what the camera even agrees, don't you, camera? Yeah, so Eddie's gone. Oh look, yay, Mike! A bit of relief.
Carving recognition.
No, it's a relief from us.
Relief from us, yeah.
Yeah, so going to be looking for a couple of moderators. So apply. Let me know. And look, I ask a lot. There's Facebook's requests for moderators, and then there's my requests. My requests are basically I want to work these people to death. I know they're volunteers, but I want them pumping out information. I want them putting information into files so that we don't educate one at a time. We give the capacity for people to be
Josh
educated.
Jackson, so what is the future like? Comes down to what we dream up, guys.
It rained this morning, if that's any good. I started to walk the dog. I got across the road. The rain came down, and I looked at her. She was shaking. I said, "Do you want to go back home?" And we run. We got home.
She has a better beard. Oh, I so do. You have no idea. It is a glorious beard.
It is a glorious beard.
It's a glorious beard.
You're almost like a bearded woman.
I am the best bearded woman.
Oh,
actually.
you are.
Yeah.
You are. I totally agree.
Yeah.
I love this one.
If anyone would like to attempt to carve the bearded lady, please let me know. I've got copyright over my face.
It's your intellectual property.
Yeah.
But you have half of your mum and half of your dad, so you're a biological jigsaw puzzle.
I am a bit of a biological jigsaw puzzle.
She favours her mother in the looks. No, not her. That's not mother. That. Look, go away. We don't want a relief. Go away. Look at that. All it took was an elbow.
But yes, as far as the future within the group is concerned, I know that we've got plans to expand it beyond just Facebook. I know that we've got plans to come up with some free resources that, you know, beginners woodcarvers worldwide can access through beyond just Facebook. I know that we've got some big plans as to expanding the YouTube channel, and
Sarah will be doing that.
I believe that this one wants to throw together some T-shirts and a few other bits and bobs.
I was going to say, okay, so remember, if you get your get a photo on the feed, then you go into September's T-shirt draw, where I'll be giving away one of the only T-shirts at the moment. I'm going to be talking to David Hunter's daughter, who's a printer, so we'll be looking at being able to get. Don't talk about copyright stuff. Too late, Tony. You missed it. We have.
Oh no, he's talking about posts. Asking for moderators. Yeah, scare them away with copyright.
Yeah.
No, look, I've talked to Dad about what sort of processes would make beginners woodcarvers a bit more streamlined, and putting some sort of basic form together for applications for moderators and for applications within the group of people who want to be regular video makers or that want to contribute to possibly some of the free resources that we want to put together. We'll put information out there so that you guys know how to contribute or how to find out more or where to look to see where the work in progress pieces are. As far as how they should apply is concerned, we'll make sure that's really clear cut when we're ready to make it official. We're actually in the process of building a Beginners Woodcarvers page at the moment. Yes. That page is going to be the main point of contact for the managerial side of Beginners Woodcarvers. Your camera's drunk. Yeah, it does seem a bit tipsy, doesn't it?
Or smoking something. No, I don't think it smoked anything, but if you could, well.
Been too close to the pyrography you've done in the room.
Yeah, I haven't got.
It's pining.
It's pining for the fjords. It likes my relief carving. It really does. Hang on. Okay.
Should mods be more experienced carvers? Not necessarily. Even I'm a moderator. I have done a total of 2 carvings. One was a spoon, the other was a tool rack for one of our friends. I am not really helpful as far as commenting on the technical art of wood carving is concerned, but I do have a lot of value in other areas. So the moderators, we need a balanced time, what would you call it, like balanced time frame, so that we've got moderators that are able to monitor the feed at all times. But with that being said, having varying skill levels isn't something that we're overly concerned about. When
I started covering BWC, I could sculpt.
Yes, Brett, I will.
I could sculpt, but at carving with knives and stuff, I only started September, October last year. So as an admin, I've been running this group. I've learned so much in the 12 months of the upgrades in the group. And
run by beginners woodcarvers for beginners woodcarvers. Having advanced carvers means that we have a unique opportunity to share unique techniques and more advanced techniques.
But we can get that from the members.
Yeah.
Look, the feed has got 3 years of information on the feed. So if you find that you want something and you're not sure if there is one or anything, no, look, each mod should have a particular task. It depends, because first of all, we all have to be doormen. We all have to let people in, because we
have a file on somewhere.
We get quite a few people coming in. So everybody has to do doorman work, and then it's, what we don't want is having mods treading on each other's toes. We have a second group that is behind the scenes to run Beginners Woodcarvers, where the democracy part of the group comes in. And yeah, okay, at the end of the day, I'm a tyrant, and I can be sometimes, and I'm sorry, I'm human.
Truth be told, he's not that bad. He just wants to keep everyone happy all of the time, and as we know, that is an incredibly difficult task. So look, as far as each mod having a particular task is concerned, we have discussed the need for people who specialize at creating files,
flexible
people who create videos, people that are on the feed, making sure that everyone is getting interacted with.
But a lot of our tutorials start off with, okay, I'm going to have a go at doing something and filming it while we're doing it. So a lot of g'day Becca, a lot of it's first attempts. A lot of our videos are first attempts at something. We don't necessarily practice and go, okay, I've done 10 of these, I can put a perfect one up. I did the chain and broke it. I didn't go, oh dear, I can't put this up. I fully acknowledge the fact that I was beaten by the chain, because the types of timber I chose were bad choices. But I thought, and still think that being able to put up a video of an attempt, whether or not it's a failure or a success, we all make mistakes. I've got carvings here that I shy away from, because I screwed them up. I didn't do them properly the first time. But there is no better teacher than a mistake, because it irritates you. You don't like that you did it wrong, and you either put it aside and you never do it again, or you go, right, that's not going to beat me, so I do it again.
At the end of the day, the only true failure is in not trying in the first place.
Beginners, teaching other beginners, we do have the resources of the, let's say, more experienced carvers rather than anything else. A lot of the more experienced carvers, they do have good advice. They've made the mistakes. They'll tell you how to avoid those mistakes. But the true test is in doing it and making mistakes, and then rectifying those mistakes so you don't do them again. Doing this relief carving that I've been doing, I've discovered by picking up other carves that my skill level has gone up a little bit. I can see, oh, I know how to do that now, and I know how to do that.
Happy accidents. I like that, Sarah.
Yeah. Learning curves. That's all it boils down
and not
to.
only that, there's half a dozen ways that you can repair a piece if you have a bit of super glue.
Well, a bit of glue, yeah.
You know, there are ways to come back from mistakes, but ultimately, because this group focuses mostly on learning, mostly on here's how to develop your skills, here's how to progress as a carver, having people as moderators who are willing to carve. That's the big key part here. They need to be willing to give the challenges a go. They need to be willing to
participate.
To have a go.
Yeah. And look, so far, like with Brett and with Tammy, they've put out videos. I've put out videos.
More information, absolutely.
Yes, yeah.
Absolutely.
Stuff. Oh, look at that! I love being a moderator. I just don't have the time with my new job. Look, Steve.
Good luck with this job, by the way, Steve.
Incredibly sad to see you go, Steve. And I want to say that between Steve and Eddie, that in the 9 months of them moderating, they have been participants in 11,000 people joining the group. So Steve, I really can't thank you enough. I mean, I'm really sad to see you go. Steve is he does a lot of comfort birds with the carving group that they donated over 600 to rest homes, hospitals.
We need to make infographics
stuff
from those stats.
Oh, look, I mean, it's Steve has just been brilliant.
Yeah, I've heard you talking about Steve. Keeping in mind, guys, that in our daily lives, there's a lot of discussion about beginners wood carvers and who's standing out and who's really stepping up, and what sort of things that they've done that contribute to all of the members that are a part of the group. And Steve, it's sad that you're leaving. We're so happy about your job, though.
Yes, well done on
so
the
congratulations.
job. a little bit more home life. Good for you. Good for you. I'm glad for you. I'm sad for us. But
it's nice that you're still here.
yes. You're
We
still
haven't
in the group.
lost you.
We've only lost you from the moderators. The group gains and we lose.
Yeah, a little bit.
Anyway, we're an hour and 3 minutes for an hour session, so this one went real quick. I need more help next time, but I do need to turn that bloody facial recognition software off.
Yeah, we'll sort that out. And let us know what you think of the live, guys. Feedback always helps. At the end of the day, if there's things that you'd like us to talk about, if you put it in the comments, we'll make sure to address it next time we do this.
Or you have the choice of writing up on the feed, Cole Braveheart, can you talk about such and such? And I will.
Or Blaze Pilgrim, if you'd like me to blah blah for a change. I do have the same ability to blah blah as my father.
Wow, 600 a year at 2,400 comfort birds total.
Wow.
2,400. Wow, that's just
wow.
Yay! Thanks, Steve. All right, that's the end of this one for this week. With any luck, I might be able to get some assistance next week because this was a lot more fun than me sitting here going blah blah. Thank you very much, Blaze, for all of your.
It was nice to meet you.
It was very nice to meet you. And we guys. Okay. Corey's question. CQT. It's Corey's question time. What's your question, Corey? Where did we go?
Oh dear. Let's try that again.
We're just waiting on Corey putting his question up.
Oh, Brett, you beautiful man, you. Oh my goodness. Lots of hugs and love.
All right, Corey, we're waiting on you. Hurry up. He's typing only one-handed, poor bugger, because one of his hands is not useful at the moment.
Oh,
and he's going through therapy and all sorts of stuff. And, at 30.
Let's get Blaze carving next week. Well, I do have a very busy schedule, but it will be added to the to-do list. I promise you guys I will work on something soon. It's certainly been something that we've discussed more than once.
Many times.
Yeah.
Want to do that. Look at that. Thanks, Blaze. Look. Oh, okay. I do this every week, and it's like, oh, yeah. You come on, and it's like, thanks, Blaze. Oh, lovely. Oh, she's much prettier.
I much appreciate the recognition, guys.
Is it good to wear finger guards?
Oh, good question. Good question.
It depends on how you're carving.
Yes, yes.
If you are, like I said, if you have a vice, and I'm not talking about the carving one, the addiction towards carving. If you have a vice, because of the way that you work in a vice, it's a lot safer. And if you've got one that rotates, then of course you can do the cuts away from your body all of the time. So finger guards are good.
For the hand that you hold the knife in, finger guards are meant.
Yeah, for the hand that you hold the knife in, finger guards. Yeah.
Look, at the end of the day, Beginners Wood Carvers encourages safety at any point throughout carving. If you find a finger guard comfortable and a safe way for you to carve, then by all means, using finger guards is wise.
If you're carving towards your thumb,
yeah,
okay.
That's a big point, really.
I tend to, okay, here's a spiral that I'm doing. A knife, okay. When I carve, I always carve away from myself. And if I need to carve towards myself, like this,
you're out of shot there.
If I try to carve like this, I don't. I spin my object round, and then I carve it from the other direction. I spin all the time, so I don't use thumb guards. Yes, I don't use them, but then I don't carve towards my thumb.
Corey, how would you feel about us throwing together either a short video or a file to address that question with a little bit more?
Well, actually, there is a.
Is there a file?
Yeah, Bob Brown gave us. If you read on the gloves and the gloves in the files, you'll find that there's a big write-up from Bob Brown about thumb guards.
That might be a good resource for you to have a look at. If you would like us to go over it in a bit more detail, Corey, just let us know.
No worries. And on that note, we are 8 minutes overtime. I wonder if we get paid overtime.
Oh, overtime.
Oh, I'll double your pay.
Penalty rate.
As a moderator, as a moderator, you're so good, I'm going to double your pay.
Oh, yeah, I get double of nothing.
Double of nothing.
Double of nothing.
2 times 0 is 0. What about we quadruple it? 4 times 0.
What a very cool religion. Yeah, I know, right?
Thank you. I'm still working on the.
All you need is gloves.
Sarah, Cole is an encyclopedia of carving files. Do you know, I've learned 90% of that in this group in the last 12 months. The information that we do have available, some of the files need updating. Well, in fact, the files will constant updating. But we try to give you the information, we try to make it available to you so that you don't necessarily have to go wandering off into a sea of information to find a cup of the right information. We've already brought the cup into the group. That's what the files are there for. They're for your benefit. They're also for mine. It's a place where I store all the information as I'm learning it. So we share. Anyway, we will see you next week. Oh, Ness just made it.
Oh.
G'day, Ness.
Hello.
And on that note,
Have a
thank you
great
very
day,
much.
guys.
Thank you for all being here and watching this. And we will see you next week. Well, I will.
Bye.
No, straighter.
Straighter.